Hello, and welcome. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Pink Raven, but you can also call me KJ, and today we're turning myself into a fish. I'll be honest, I almost completely forgot that Mermay was a thing until a couple of days ago when suddenly I remembered it was and wanted to participate, at least a little bit. Although I will admit it's a little rough because I started the drawing like a day ago and I am finishing the drawing, editing, recording, and doing all this shit on May 31st. If I succeed, this will be uploaded on May 31st. Please. Like I said, this is last minute. This is literally the last day of May. I am doing this. Help. Anyways, let's get into it. Instead of coming up with a completely new design or new character, I just kind of turned myself into merfolk. So yeah. Narcissism hits again. That, and I thought it would be really cool to translate some of my design features into a merfolk or merperson. So a fun fact about my model, even though I haven't drawn it yet and my boots are always covering my feet, I actually picture my model as having skeleton feet that match my skeleton hands. Because honestly, I just think that's kind of cool. And it makes sense in my brain to have all of the limbs matching. So a natural progression of that would be if I were to have a fish tail, it would match, right? So freaking skeleton tail. I thought that would be badass. So that's what I went with. I also thought it would be cool to somehow turn my wing designs into the fin designs. And that's basically what I did. I pretty much just took an outline of my middle wing and just flipped it around and turned it into my tail fin. And honestly, I think it came out really good. Like, it translated nicely. So I was pretty excited about that. I didn't really go into this with a sea creature that I was going to base my mer self off of. I just kind of purely went off of my design, but as I was drawing, I started to realize I would definitely be some form of deep sea creature. Because I have the see-through skin and the skeletal features. I also glow a little bit in the dark. So yeah, I'm definitely some form of deep sea creature, because that is where my characteristics match the most. I'm definitely some kind of predator too. I mean, look at those sharp teeth. Anyways, one thing about merfolk designs is a lot of them are often just, I know I've done it before, I know it, if you look back at my Instagram, don't call me out, I know I've done it before, shut up. Anyways, I'm not the biggest fan of how, like, mermaids will have just, like, a bikini top, or, like, men are basically just shirtless. Like, my favorite is always when it looks like they have found things that they've used to accessorize themselves, but they're not just wearing, like, a human bathing suit top and a tail. So for mine, I decided to try and go with found things to mimic the clothing that I have in my current model and actual design. And to do this, for some reason, I decided to go with fishnets, because there is a lot of fishnets in the ocean. Fishermen are everywhere, and I regretted that choice. Honestly, I think it does look cool. I'm not sure if it really came across the way I wanted it to. I'm really hoping it does, but fishnets were really freaking hard. It's just a bunch of lines. It's just a bunch of lines going in different directions. That's not just like a fabric that you could just put down. Like, there's not a square. It confused the hell out of me, and I hoped for the best. I prayed. Yeah, I used the fishnets to kind of make it look like I just tied some around my waist to mimic the belt that I have. I also put some around my hands to mimic my fingerless gloves that my model has, and to add a little bit of extra something, I put some seaweed around the wrist to mimic my wrist cuff and to bring it down a little bit. I also wrapped a little bit around the tail. I might have gone a little too subtle with it, to be honest. I didn't really want it to be this like big thing, but I probably could have played it up more because I'm not sure if it's that clear. But I did want the main focus of it to be the tail, because I really I really wanted to have fun with the tail, you know? Now, when it came to the upper body chest area, I found it to be a little bit plain, but I was also not entirely sure what to do there at first, because as you can see on my model, I have a rib cage. But I don't imagine this as being actually part of my body. I think of it more of like a fashion choice that just goes over the shirt. That's something that can be removed. Like the pink skin I have is not see-through. So I wouldn't have any actual visible ribs as this merfolk unless I made my entire upper body that like dark see-through material that my tail and hands were made of, which I didn't want to do. But I also found that area to be a little too plain, so I ended up adding 2 necklaces instead. Which again, I tried to keep to found things like a raven skull that might have been found on a beach, and a shell because they're frickin' everywhere around the ocean, and then just some rope that might have been left behind by some sailors to tie them together. Other than that, my design kind of mostly stayed the same when it came to the upper body. I still have my freckles and roses on my shoulders. I also added a little bit to the back and like around where the tail ends. I also gave myself some gills on the side because I thought that would be a fun little detail. And the face is basically just the face. It's the exact same. The hair is the same. I did trade out my like pointy fairy ears for more fin-like mermaid ears. And honestly, I think it looks really cute. I love doing like mermaid ears like that. I find it so fun. I will say though, the background was a little difficult for me. I definitely struggle with backgrounds and environments, and I didn't want to do too much in the background, but I also wanted it to be like, yeah, this is underwater. Like, this is a fish underwater. Yeah. Honestly, I just kind of played around until I found something that I was semi-satisfied with and went, well, okay, we're good enough. That's done. We're good. Especially because I do want to get this done at a reasonable time, and I finished that up like 30 minutes ago. As I'm nearing the end of this recording, like I said, I'm rushing the shit out of this. But hopefully it all turns out well. Honestly, I am pretty satisfied with this design, and overall I had a lot of fun with it, and it was fun picturing myself as merfolk. And I've been seeing other VTubers with like merfolk models, and after doing this, part of me is like, I want one myself. I want to make one myself. So that's another model on my list of ever-growing models of alternate outfits and versions of myself. It's just going to keep getting longer. I have a problem, but ultimately this is the final result. I feel like it came out pretty good for being a rush project, and I definitely had a lot of fun with it. I enjoyed it, and I do really like this design of myself, and it's making me want to make other versions of myself. Like, what if I was other mystical creatures? What would that look like? Because clearly we know what I look like as a fairy. We now know what I look like as merfolk, so like what other magical creatures should I make myself as? That would be fun. That would be really fun. In the meantime, if you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, press all the buttons. If not, I hope you enjoy whatever you do next, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!